I have something I want to say to you. I get the feeling that if you were free, you'd go back to Luke. Well, I can't magically change things overnight or give you back your freedom. Just like that. But if you want to play this thing through, I'll go along with it. If you decide to go back to him, I won't stand in your way. On the other hand, if you want to come back here to me, I'll be here for you. I guess that's it.
You'd really do that?
Yes.
But why?
Because I love you. That much.
You're dressed to go out.
Well, of course, you said you'd pick me up, didn't you?
That's right. You promised to help me shop for my trousseau.
Right, and I'm ready. Why are you so surprised?
Well, under the circumstances, I was afraid you might cancel out.
Under what circumstances?
Your problem. Or isn't there a problem any longer? Are things all squared away with Luke and Robert?
If we may come to order, please. Let the record show that a special committee of the City Council is convened to hear argument regarding a permit for a gambling club proposed near the waterfront development project. Now, Mr. Brock, as the petitioner in this matter, are you ready to proceed?
Mr. Mayor, I would ask you to please indulge me for a few more minutes. I cannot proceed until my associate has arrived.
Mr. Mayor, we were not informed prior to this that Mr. Brock was to have an associate present at this hearing.
Nor was the council, Commissioner. If I may ask, Mr. Brock, who is your associate in this matter?
I think he'll be able to answer it himself, Mr. Mayor. Much better than me. He's arrived.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. My apologies to everyone.
Let the record show that Luke Spencer is joining Mr. Brock on behalf of the petition before this committee. Now we can proceed.
So that's about where things stand at the moment.
In other words, you really haven't resolved anything at all.
Not really. But I have decided one thing. I can't stop living just because my heart feels like a torn pocket.
I'm glad you've decided that, at least. When you talked to Luke, did he at least understand why things happened the way they did?
It's not an easy question to answer, Celia. As you know, Luke and I didn't even meet under what you would call ordinary circumstances. Far from it. I arranged that we would meet on the mountain. It was all part of the oil scam.
Yes, but Holly, that's ancient history.
That's just my point. It's not the past to Luke.
But he knows that you ended up loving him.
Yes, but because of our beginnings, he's never really trusted me. I don't know, maybe that's why he didn't come down from the mountain when he was ill.
Oh, I'm not sure I agree with that.
But look at it from his point of view. When he did come home, what did he find? Robert and I were married.
Well, I'm sure he understood why you had to marry Robert. I mean, with the threat of deportation and all.
Yes, Luke understood that part. But what he didn't understand, and probably he'll never understand, is that I accepted his death.
Well, so did everyone else.
Yes, but I not only married Robert, I found him warm and kind and loving. And I needed that. I wanted that so desperately.
It all comes out to the same thing, doesn't it?
Comes down to what?
The bedroom. How do you feel about Luke right now? Do you know?
Yes, I know. I love him. I'll always love him. But at the same time, I'm feeling angry and hurt.
Why?
Because he won't understand the pain I went through and my loyalty and affection for Robert.
I'm not sure any man ever could, really. So, what are you going to do? Have you thought about that?
Oh, constantly. All I know is I'm just totally confused about how I feel, what I should do. Things are so much up in the air, I couldn't possibly make a decision at the moment.
Things are up in the air?
Yes, Luke is staying with Tiffany. That makes me think that he's probably going to be staying for a while in Port Charles.
Probably.
And that means that sooner or later I'm just going to have to confront him with this.
Yes, yes, I'd say that's inevitable. What in the meantime?
I'm just going to have to keep on trying to sort out my feelings, I suppose.
Anything else?
I'm going to have to go on living, one day at a time.
Next, if I may remind the council committee that the casino we propose will be part of a first-class restaurant on the very site of the up-and-coming exposition.
Why do you feel that the location is relevant, Mr. Brock?
The location is very relevant because a restaurant that has gourmet dining and a gambling casino will attract a very sophisticated cosmopolitan crowd, particularly the rich international set.
I don't quite follow your train of thought.
My point is, sir, that Port Charles is not known internationally. It is not an international center. It's precisely the international people that we want for the exposition. We all agree on this. Therefore, in order for them to come, we need a magnet. My restaurant and casino will be that magnet. I thank you very much.
Is there anything further?
Yes.
Luke Spencer.
Your Honor, my colleague, Mr. Brock, and I would like to remind the committee that there will, of course, be taxes levied on the restaurant and on the profits of the casino. Money that will go, of course, directly into the city budget for education, health care, social services, money for the elderly, money for the poor, and I'm sure I don't need to remind you that the city sorely needs it.
I knew he'd bring that up.
Do you think these funds will be substantial?
Now, I think that's putting it mildly. May I make one more point?
The floor is yours.
We are not asking this committee to go against the wishes of the people of Port Charles in any way.
But, Mr. Spencer, that's exactly what you are asking. Why, there are many voters in my district alone who are definitely opposed to gambling.
Yes, and they should be heard. And that's why we're asking for a permit to allow gambling only during the duration of the exposition. At the end of that time, we suggest a referendum in the election so the voters may decide themselves.
Well, thank you for a very strong and attractive argument. Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you wish to say anything in opposition to what we've just heard?
I certainly do. Mr. Mayor, members of the special committee, I intend to say plenty.
Take a look at this. Could you die? Oh, Mary, you're a genius. It's absolutely perfect. I don't even you need to try it on. Put it on the pile. Holly, isn't it gorgeous?
Yes, it's beautiful, Celia.
And if you think that's a knockout, just wait. I've got some new things in the back that will make you swoon. Excuse me.
Holly, are you sure you want to go through with this? I mean, I know it's very hard to get into the spirit of it.
Oh, it's good for me, really. It keeps my mind off my problems.
I could say the same thing.
Oh?
Yes, I mean, Jimmy Lee. Oh, no, don't misunderstand me. I know I was just plain stupid to chase after him when I have such a warm, wonderful man as Grant.
I think I hear a but coming.
I get such a certain feeling whenever I think about Jimmy Lee. He is quite a man.
He's very attractive.
Very. But I will not let anyone jeopardize what I have with Grant. Not Jimmy Lee, not anyone.
Well, good. If you've solved that dilemma, I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you.
Yes, I'm happy too, darn it. I wish you were, though. I can't even get you to smile. You sure you don't want to stop this? I can shop any day.
Oh, no.
Oh, darlings, how wonderful to see the both of you. Still finding her. Delphina, darling. It's Tiffany. Rise and shine.
Tiffany, no, Delphina's not here. Mary is, though, and she's in the back. How are you, Tiffany?
Oh, well, actually, I'm ready and raring to go, darling. I am having dinner next week in Manhattan with my adorable Senator Drake, and I have to look ravishing. How are you, Holly?
Oh, I'm fine.
Really? You look rather tired.
No, I'm fine. And, how are you?
Me? I haven't stopped to draw a breath since my first date in 5th grade. Was that 6th grade? Oh, well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Still, it must be hard work having a roommate. How is that going?
Holly, darling, we're friends. Why don't you just come right in and ask me what it is you really want to know?
I was just asking a polite question.
Well, I'll answer it. Luke is terrible.
Why do you say that?
Because it's true. And obviously, looking at you, you're not any better. I mean, you've got rings under your eyes.
Why is Luke terrible?
Well, he just is. And if you ask me, you're both silly about the whole thing.
You mean me?
I mean the both of you. You're keeping away from each other. You're just sitting around agonizing all on your own, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, what do you suggest we do?
What any two intelligent adults would do, you sit down quietly, face to face, and talk it out.
That's so easy to say, Tiffany.
No, Holly, it is not that easy to say, but I say it because I love both of you. You and Luke are not doing yourselves any good.
Oh, I know that.
Well, I hope you know something else also.
What?
You're not doing Robert any good either.
Right, my next point is all too clear, so I won't bother expanding upon it. It's been proven since time immemorial that gambling attracts a criminal element. You establish a licensed casino on the waterfront, you'll invite that element. Also, you'll open the doors for that element into Port Charles.
Commissioner, you yourself have indicated you've made great progress in ridding the waterfront of the criminal element.
That's very true. As a matter of fact, we've cleaned up the worst of it. As you're all well aware, Augie and Anthony Hand are now dead, and the power of the New York mobs has been broken. In short, the waterfront is clean, and I would like it to stay that way.
Mr. Commissioner, I note that Scott Baldwin is allied with you in your opposition to the gambling license.
Yeah, that's right.
Yet, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Baldwin, you yourself had ties to Hand as well as to Augie.
Well, I did, but that was in the past.
And didn't you yourself originally interest Mr. Brock in the waterfront development?
I did.
If I might address this myself. Mr. Brock here came to us with impeccable credentials from Senator Drake. And I endorsed his participation in wishing to establish a first-class restaurant here. I still do. But I take considerable exception to his desire to establishing legalized gambling.
Do you have anything to say in rebuttal to Mr. Spencer's assurances that the city would derive considerable tax revenue from the casino?
I certainly do. Mr. Spencer's assertion that certain tax monies would be derived is absolutely correct. But his assertion that that money would be spent for the poor, the needy, or anybody else is incorrect.
Why?
Because Mr. Spencer knows, as do I, that any money that the casino brings in will be used to fight the criminal element that it also brings in. Look, I assure you members of the committee, the truth here is all too painfully clear. Gambling leads to crime. Don't open the doors.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now that we have heard both sides, I think the committee will go into executive session and take a vote.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Brock?
We have one more person to speak on behalf of the casino.
You and Mr. Spencer have both had ample opportunity, and I see no one else here.
If I may. Our speaker is Mrs. Steve Hardy.
I believe we all know Mrs. Hardy, and while her appearance before this committee was not on the agenda, I'm sure we're all eager to hear what she has to say.
Well, thank you, John.
Mrs. Hardy?
I don't know. Some of you may know that I'm serving as president of the Historical Landmark Society of Port Charles, and so I am here in that capacity today. First of all, I would like to state that I share your determination to preserve the Greenwood House because of its historical significance to this community. I have with me the original plans of the Greenwood House. Luke, maybe you could explain them, would you?
Certainly, Mrs. Hardy. To summarize, these plans will prove that in its original form, the Greenwood House in the 1890s was a celebrated and very famous gambling casino, which means, in order to restore it to its original form, it must contain a casino. Now, I must, in all honesty, tell the committee that originally Mrs. Hardy had some reservations about the gambling casino, but I believe that she has changed her mind. Is that correct?
Yes, it certainly is.
Why, Mrs. Hardy?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Brock explained the sizable revenues this city could receive from taxing a gambling casino. And Luke has shown me some very impressive figures about some other cities.
Well, what kind of figures?
Luke?
Certainly. We have here information regarding areas of the country where gambling is permitted. Revenues that go directly to the cities of Las Vegas, Reno, Lake Tahoe, Atlantic City, Miami, where tax income from races and other sporting events goes directly to the city, and others, approximately 50 communities where gambling is permitted.
And they all receive monies from gambling.
That is putting it mildly, sir.
May I add one more thing?
Go right ahead.
First of all, I think this committee should know that Mr. Brock has spent quite a bit of time with the Historical Society, and he has assured us that the gambling at the Greenwood House would be under the strictest control. Now, that was a very persuasive factor in our vote.
Oh, the Landmark Society has taken a vote on this matter?
We have indeed. We have voted unanimously to grant Mr. Brock the permit for the gambling, and I am here on record to urge you all to do the same.
You voted unanimously because you're satisfied that the control will be what it should be.
That was one reason, yes.
If I may summarize, not only was Mrs. Hardy and her committee satisfied that there would be strict controls, but they were also quite impressed with the fact that revenue for the city of Port Charles could be generated to a great degree by taxes from a gambling casino.
That was very persuasive to us.
And may I remind you once again that we're only asking for a permit for the duration of the exposition. At the end of that time, we suggest that it's put on the ballot, allow the people to vote.
Well, thank you, Luke. Is there anything else?
I think we've argued our situation rather adequately.
I quite agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner, do you have anything further to say?
I've already stated my position. Strict controls or not, gambling attracts a criminal element. It mustn't happen here in Port Charles.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, very much. Now, if there's nothing further, this committee will retire into executive session. We will consider both sides of the argument, and we will let you know of our decision. This special committee of the City Council will resume the deliberations in my office. And thank you, everyone, for presenting us with your views.
I hope you can appreciate my concern. I never thought you'd go for a gambling casino, but now that you have, I've got to oppose it.
If we do get our license, I think you're going to change your mind.
I can't conceive of that.
Well, I can. Say we're operating, and those tax dollars start coming in. They're going to beef up your budget for your police department, right?
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
Well, if you do see it beefed up, will you still be against gambling?
Absolutely. I opposed your petition. If you get a license, which I doubt, we're still going to be on opposite sides.
Oh, we're going to get our answer right now.
Thank you very much for waiting, and I won't prolong the committee's response. We've considered very carefully both sides of this question and have reached a decision. The committee has voted to grant Mr. Brock and Mr. Spencer a permit for gambling. Such permit to be in effect until the November elections. At that time, the measure will be put on the ballot in the form of a referendum, and the voters of Port Charles will make the final decision.
All right. Commissioner.
I think you should try the purple on first. That tells me very deceitful.
Well, before I try on anything at all, I want to call Grant.
Oh, I hope you're not going to tell him how much you spent.
Oh, perish the thought. No, I just want to call him and tell him how wonderful he is.
Over the phone?
I would tell him in sky riding if I had an airplane.
Are you sure you wouldn't like us to croon softly in the background whilst you're talking to him?
No, that's exactly what I'm afraid of. So I think I will go downstairs and use that phone. Excuse me.
Okay. Holly, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Darling, you're talking to Tiffany. You look absolutely exhausted.
Well, maybe the shopping did tire me out a little bit.
I'd say more than a little bit, and I don't think the shopping has anything to do with it. Come on, you can tell me. These are very rough times for you, I know, aren't they?
Frankly, it's all I can do to get through the day. Tiffany.
Yes.
Is Luke really all right? You haven't said very much.
Well, neither has he. He's not being very open these days, I'm afraid.
But is he okay? Does he seem to be suffering, or is he angry?
Wouldn't it be better if you asked him that yourself? You must want to see him.
I'm not sure. I don't even know if he would.
I think he would. Just approached him in the right way.
I have no idea what the right way would be, and even if we did talk, I'm not sure it would help. To be quite honest, I feel like I'm in some kind of a limbo halfway between heaven and hell.
Oh, that man is divine. Simply divine.
Yes, so you've said.
Yeah, often.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Holly, I didn't know you had a music box. I simply adore them. I had a whole collection of them. Oh, this one's so pretty.
Could you put it down?
What?
I said, please put it down. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear it, ever.
I'm sorry, Holly. I didn't realize it was special.
Oh, it's nothing but memories. In fact, you could just take it out of here. Get it out of here.
You don't mean that.
Yes, I do. I hate it. I don't want to see it.
Well, maybe this very moment. Believe me, there'll come a day when you will absolutely treasure this.
Never.
Yes, it will. And in the meantime, I'll just take it myself. That way it'll be ready when you are. And Holly, that day can come anytime.
Oh, Robert, I'm sorry.
You've heard already.
I can tell by your expression they're going to allow gambling.
The decision against me was unanimous.
Well, again, I'm sorry. But if it's any help, you may have lost the first battle, but you haven't lost the war.
How do you figure that?
Well, it's the truth. You've served Brock notice that if there is going to be gambling, it better be a good, clean operation.
And I intend to make sure of it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And what's more important, Brock knows that, so there's one plus for you.
As soon as that casino opens, I'll have my best people watching every bloody move they make.
Yeah. And Brock knows that, so you haven't really lost.
You know, sometimes I forget how good you are for me.
I'm just pointing out what's true.
No. No, you do more than that. You make me realize that nothing could be that bad if I have you here to share it with. This isn't the right time to be saying this, but there isn't an hour or a minute or a day when I don't hope you're here to stay. Hello.
Hello?
Holly,
Luke?
I want to see you.
You do?
I want to see you.
When?
Anytime. How about tomorrow?
When tomorrow?
Whenever you say. I will call you back, all right?
All right.
Tomorrow.
Scorpio's nose.
Yes. Well, I stated my case as eloquently as I could against gambling, but all the city council could see were dollar signs. Yes, Connie, I understand cities are going bankrupt all over the country. What crisis of our own? Gerald? No. When was I supposed to get over to the university? Look, I've been working day and night to try to defeat this gambling business. Oh, of course I haven't forgotten my first loyalty to the WSB. Incorrect. My first loyalty is to my job. Yes. And look, I know protecting Gerald is our job. Connie, don't give me that #1 priority bit, all right? I'd be more inclined to agree with you if I knew what the hell we were trying to protect out there. Connie, look, I don't need this today, all right?
Hello?
It's Luke.
Luke. I was afraid you weren't going to call back. Do you still want to see me?
Oh, yeah. We have to talk.
I know. I'm going out of my mind leaving things like this.
When can you get away?
Now, if you like.
All right. Where do you want to meet me?
I haven't really thought about where we'd meet.
Oh, I'm sorry, neither had I.
Well, how about here? No, I guess that isn't such a good idea.
No, I don't think so. I'm staying with Tiffany. What about over there?
I don't know, Luke. That's your place now. I think it would be just as awkward.
Yeah, you're right. We should meet somewhere neutral.
I don't mean to make this difficult. It's just there's so much we have to talk about. And I don't want anything to interfere.
I agree. How about the dog? Down near where the star used to be.
Near the star? Yes, the dog.
That's isolated enough.
When do you want to meet?
How about now?
Fine.
Are you sure it's all right?
The dog? Yes, of course.
No, I don't mean that. I mean seeing me.
It's the most important thing in the world to me right now. I'll see you soon.
Holly.
Yes?
Thank you.
Look, get that report over to me as soon as you can, will you?
Yes, sir.
And tell Captain Ramsey I'll be talking to him very soon about Greenwood House.
Yes. Anything else, Commissioner?
No, that'll do for the moment. All these bloody security problems. The exposition, the last thing in the world I need right now is gambling at Greenwood House.
Robert, I'm meeting Luke this afternoon.
Well, I gathered as much from the phone call.
I'll get my things.
Things?
My jacket and my bag. I wasn't sure what time I'd be meeting him till he just called.
Look, Holly, I've said you can do whatever you like. You already know that. Actually, I'm glad you're seeing Luke today. With what you've been through, maybe this will clear the air a little.
There are so many things that I want him to understand.
Maybe he's in a mood to listen now.
He did sound different on the phone, not so angry.
If he wants to come back to you...
He wants to talk.
If he wants to come back to you, you must do as your heart tells you to do.
I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Well, maybe after today we'll all know. If you want to go back to him, you must. I won't pretend that it's not going to hurt. That it'd hurt a whole lot more if I knew you'd come back to me and your heart was elsewhere.
Oh, Robert.
Remember, if you decide to go, and you want to come back, well, I'll be here.
I want to make the best decision for all of us.
You will. I trust you.
Well, I guess there isn't anything more to say.
Guess not.
I'll get going.
Holly, remember, whatever you do, I'll understand.
Holly.
I'd forgotten how far this is. I hope it didn't inconvenience you.
I needed the exercise.
I didn't mean that.
I know that. Doesn't seem to be anywhere for you to sit.
Oh, this is fine.
You sure?
Yes, right.
You look wonderful.
I just dashed out.
No, come on. I know you better than that. You always look wonderful. You know, I always, when I think of you very often, I think of you in that great cape on Victoria, and I see you standing on the shore looking out at me.
It's freezing that day.
Yes, I know. You pulled the hood up over your head. It was red on the inside, and all I could see were your eyes. Your wonderful eyes.
Seems such a long time ago.
It was. Well, look, I had a lot of things I needed to say to you. Well,
Please don't be angry with me anymore.
No, look, no more scenes. I wanted you to know, or at least I wanted you to try to understand what I did and why I did it, why I didn't come back. But in order for you to do that, you have to put yourself in my place, and I mean really try to put yourself in my place. You're going to have to try to see things that I never wanted you to see.
Like you're not being able to walk?
Not just that, no. Since I've been back, a couple of people have pointed out to me that the old Spencer pride might be getting in the way. And that's why what I have to say to you is difficult.
It'll help. I understand that pride. It's a quality of yours I've always admired.
Before today, I couldn't let you see me without that pride. You see, up there, somehow I got stripped of the pride, of the dignity, and most of all of the hope. Holly, I had no hope. Hope. You couldn't respect a man like that.
I would have gladly gone through anything with you.
You don't know what you're saying.
You think I couldn't have handled it?
I don't think many people could have handled it. And it's no reflection on you.
You really think I had so little courage?
Holly, this is not a matter of courage. I just didn't want to lay all that pain on you.
What about the pain I went through thinking you were dead?
I am truly sorry for that. That may have been a mistake. But one thing I do know is that to live with me in a wheelchair, baby, you would have seen me dying day by day by day. You would have seen me get angrier and angrier and nastier. I didn't want to lay that on you. That's all.
Look, you're here, and you're well. So there's really no point in us talking about what could have happened, what may have been. What we have to do is accept how things are now. And that includes you understanding why I did what I did, too.
I'm trying to do that.
You have to. Because you controlled everything that I did. I tried to get on with my life as best as I could. Because I thought that's what you would have wanted me to do.
I just didn't think it would be so easy for you to get over me, that's all.
I didn't get over you. I never forgot you or what we had.
Well, you have to understand that I have a lot of trouble believing that.
I can't undo anything.
I know. I was just so sure that you were going to wait for me.
You were dead.
Our love wasn't dead, my God. I was in rooms and I was sure that you were there with me.
How was I supposed to know?
I felt that maybe a part of you would have known. thought you were going to say you did.
I was going to say what you wanted to hear, but it would have been a lie.
Good for you. So what happens now?
It's up to you.
Okay, then I guess I have to accept it. All of it. All of it. Wait a minute. There's only one thing. Look at Harvard. I can't ask you about why that happened, can I? Can't I?
I know you think I took the easy way out, but you're wrong.
I never said it was easy for you.
But you make it sound like I jumped into bed with Robert the minute I heard you were dead.
Look, let's just forget it.
No. This is a big part of why you're so angry. You've always thought that your love for me was stronger than mine for you. And this just proves it in your eyes.
Look, I'm sorry, but right now, all I want is for us to be honest with each other. And Holly, that's the way I feel.
But it isn't true. Letting you go is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I had to go up to the mountain, our mountain. To do it, it was as if I had to ask your permission or something. It's like I needed you there with me to tell me what to do.
Well, I wish I had been.
So do I. But you weren't. Because I couldn't listen to what my heart was telling me to do, I had to listen to the voices of others. Not just Robert. Listen to Bobby and Ruby.
Bobby and Ruby?
Told me that you would want me to get on with my life. You thought it was useless to live in the past. I wanted to. I wanted you to be with me for always. But they said that if I gave up on living my life, it would be like giving up everything that you believed in. And you didn't believe in living in the past.
Well, I still don't. What's done is done. So you're right. Let's just don't talk about what might have been.
I'd change things if I could.
Boy, so would I. So would I. I've treated you unjustly. I admit that. Maybe I was making you pay for something that you had no responsibility for. Maybe I was trying to cover my own mistakes by judging you. You did what you had to do.
So did Robert. It's important that you realize that...
I do. He married you because you were going to be deported and because you needed our... You needed our child to have a name.
Wanted our child to be born around people who knew and loved you. People who would tell him about his father. When I lost the baby, I didn't want to live anymore.
Well, you survived, English. And so did I. And maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe we have another chance. Maybe we can do it again. And do it right this time. Yeah. I can accept everything that you did. If you can accept what I did.
Of course.
I want us to be together.
So do I.
Do you still love me?
Yes. Nothing could change that.
Chance, you've got to hold on to romance. Don't let it slide. There's a special kind of magic in the air when you find another heart to beat.
It's gonna be different this time. This time you're going to trust me. You don't trust me at all, do you?
Holly.
Please say something. You don't trust me, do you?
Look, don't make me answer that right now.
You just did. You don't trust me. You never have. After all that we've gone through, after what we just said to each other now, how can you still doubt me?
Look, I don't.
Oh, I can see the look on your face.
Well, come on. You can't blame me for being a little gun-shy.
But it's ruining any chance we have together.
Look, maybe I can learn to trust you again. It'll just take some time, that's all. We have a chance now to make a fresh start, okay? It's like we just met each other. We don't even know each other. We'll just start over.
Oh, beginning. They've always been but a lie to you. You'll never be able to forget that.
Holly, I'll try.
What if you can't? It was lack of trust that broke us up. In the first place, when I went up to the mountain, it was because...
No.
It was because I lied. The reason why you ran up to the mountain when... The reason why I always drove you away was because of lies, wasn't it? Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Answer me.
It's true.
It's hopeless. I'll never gain your trust, will I?
Look, we have a chance for a new start. But... Holly, do you know what happens to a deer when it gets caught in the headlights of a car? It's paralyzed. It sees the car coming. You have to know that it knows it has to run, but it can't. Because it's hypnotized. It's stuck there. Even though it knows it's in danger, it stays there. I've been like that. I've been paralyzed with that. It's like being in the light, that's all I can say. I can't run. I don't understand it, but I can't. And the whole thing is that I just figured it would all go away. I just thought, there's no problem here. It'll disappear.
I'm back. I'm back to stay.
Haven't you seen Luke?
Yes.
And?
Not now. Just know that it's over and done with. This is my home now, and I'm your wife.
Do you really mean that?
Oh, yes, I certainly mean that. You love me, and you trust me, and that means the world to me.
I can't believe this. When you walked out that door, I didn't think I'd ever see you again. At least not here.
over with Luke and me.
Still can't believe you're back.
You keep saying that.
I know. I've got to sort of make sure that it's all true.
It is true.
Yeah, right now, I could jump right through the roof. Let's say I take my wife out to dinner.
Why not?
Why not? Let's celebrate.
It's about time you and I started some living.
Well, you see a hostess anywhere?
No.
Busy night. What's wrong?
Good evening, Commissioner. Mrs. Scorpio. Your table's ready. All right.
Look, we don't have to stay.
No, really, it's all right. It doesn't bother me.
Well, I mean, it bothers me.
It shouldn't. Oh, I told you.
Well, I guess it's inevitable that we're going to run into the guy from time to time.
Right. We can't avoid that. And as far as I'm concerned, he can live his life any way he pleases. And we can live our life. Why don't you order some champagne?
Oh, you all right?
Of course.
Well, it's just that you hadn't been downstairs. I thought I'd better check.
You can come in if you want to.
What are you doing?
I'm just packing up a few things.
You going somewhere?
No, I'm spring cleaning. I suddenly realized I have a closet full of things that I don't need anymore.
Like hiking gear?
Especially hiking gear.
You sure?
Positive. I know what you're thinking, Robert. But like I told you, it is over with me and Luke.
You want to talk about what happened yesterday?
There's really no point in discussing it.
Look, I know how difficult it was for you to meet Luke. It's just that, well, if you need me now,
I appreciate that, but it's not necessary.
You know, it's not good to bottle these things up, Holly.
I think it's better not to analyze them to death.
Yeah, but I figured that, you know, if you had something, you might want to tell me.
I'm not keeping anything from you, Robert. I just don't want anything to get in the way of our happiness.
Neither do I. I'll see you downstairs.
I shouldn't be too long. And, Robert, thank you.
What are you doing here?
Now, what kind of a greeting is that?
You're right. It's a lousy greeting. I'm sorry. Come in.
I need to talk to you about Gerald's security system. I got the police and fire reports back about the alarm going off the other day.
Oh, what's it say?
Well, they seem to be putting it down to a crossed wire somewhere.
It's not very specific.
Well, these things aren't easy to trace. From what they could make out, an electrical malfunction caused both the fire alarm and the security alarm to be set off.
Well, one triggered off the other.
Yeah, that too.
You know what? This report is all a little too pat for me.
I agree. It does seem a bit suspicious. But on the other hand, I mean, the security system isn't 100% foolproof. It can go off by mistake sometimes.
And what about the fire alarm?
Could be kids playing a prank.
At the same time, though, it's all rather coincidental, don't you think?
Yep, it is.
All right, so why are you accepting this report?
Whoa, I'm not. I just want to be 100% sure we're not jumping to the wrong conclusion before we start our own investigation.
Yeah, all right. We have to keep a low profile, especially you.
Definitely. It would be unwise to draw unnecessary attention to myself.
All right, now look. Grant Putnam was near Gerald's office when that alarm went off. As I understand, he was one of the first people on the scene. I might have a chat to him and see what he knows.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Oh, go over to the university, poke about a little bit.
I thought I'm keeping a low profile.
Well, you're in charge of security. You have a valid reason to ask questions.
Oh, that's my Robbie, always on his toes. Age has brought you infinitely more wisdom.
And made you more tenacious.
Oh, come on. You'd be hurt if I stopped trying.
Just be careful.
Always. Look, this shouldn't take too long. Why don't we meet back here later on and compare notes?
Fine.
Hello, Connie.
Oh, Holly. Going on a trip?
No, just throwing out some clothes I don't need anymore.
Oh. Well, I wish I had time to do that myself.
Oh, you should, really. I feel so much better after clearing out the old and making room for the new.
It sounds like New Year's.
Doesn't it? Were you just leaving?
Yes.
Oh, shame. We've never had the chance to talk.
Well, maybe next time.
I'd like that.
Well, bye.
Let me.
I'll see you later.
Don't grow too tall. Let me give you that.
Oh, no. I'll just leave it by the door here. The truck from the hospital thrift shop will be along later to pick it up.
My, aren't we full of spirits?
You know, I'm full of energy today, and seeing Connie has given me an idea.
Oh? You want to go blonde?
No, about work, actually. I'd love to get involved in your work again.
Well, you know, I've always valued your
I
opinion.
had so much fun tracking down the common elements of the four cities. And now that the city is Port Charles, well, it's going to be obviously exciting things happening here. And, well, what do you think?
Look, you have a real talent for detective work.
So you'll let me help you?
Not this time.
But you said I had a talent.
This is different. This is top secret work, and any knowledge of it could be dangerous.
But who would know except you?
That's the whole point. I would never know. And I could never be sure. And there's no way I'm going to put your life in any kind of jeopardy.
Spoil sport.
Now, look, Holly, this is for your own good. I mean it. You forget about everything that you know going on in this house between Connie and myself. And you especially forget about the fact that Connie is a WSB agent.
Well, I certainly wouldn't tell anybody that.
Good, because no one must ever know.
All right. Well, as far as Connie is concerned, she's just an old flame of yours and a good friend of both of us.
Good girl.
Hello? Holly, it's Celia.
How's the bride-to-be this morning?
Bored. Grant had his day off canceled, and I thought the next best thing would be to have lunch with you.
Well, I think I make an excellent second choice. How about in an hour at the Floating Roof?
I knew I could count on you. See you then. Holly, I don't see any point in being subtle. I'm absolutely dying to hear how you've resolved your triangle situation, have you?
Yes, I have.
That's it?
Well, there isn't really much more to say. Luke and I talked, and we've decided it's over between us.
Just like that?
Celia, I'm Robert's wife now, and that's all there is to it.
Well, are you happy with that decision?
Very.
Case closed, huh?
Right.
All right. Well, let's have a toast to wives, present and future.
How are your wedding plans coming along?
Oh, frantically. I can't believe the wedding's so close.
But Jimmy Lee isn't calling you anymore.
Yes, he is. As a matter of fact, he demanded a wedding invitation.
Oh, you're joking.
No, I wish I were. He just can't get it through his head that we're finished. I'm doing everything I can to keep him away from me. I don't want anything to mar my relationship with Grant now.
But you and Grant are fine.
Oh, Holly, I never believed I would be so much in love with someone. But now I can really sympathize with you.
How's that?
Well, with all this business with Jimmy Lee and all, I can see how difficult it is to keep your past affairs from affecting your current life.
Well, in my case, it won't be a problem. I don't anticipate having anything more to do with Luke.
Luke, Dyer.
Anyone home?
Am I interrupting anything here?
No, not at all.
Yes, Dr. Putnam and I will be discussing additional therapy later, and then I'll check in with you tomorrow, okay? Good. Bye-bye.
Natalie and I have just finished up our consultation anyway.
Yes, we had a bit of an emergency here, and Dr. Putnam was kind enough to come in on his day off.
Yeah, the nurse at the hub said you were here.
Not for long. I'm hoping to join Dr. Gerald for lunch.
Now, there's a coincidence. I've got a few questions about him. Won't take long.
What did you need to know?
Send us around that security system of his that went off the other day.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
Well, as I understand it, you were one of the first on the scene when the alarm went off.
Yes, I was. Dr. Gerald had told me that the university had installed quite an elaborate security system, so when I heard an alarm coming from the direction of his office, I was afraid something might have happened to him. I've grown quite fond of my old teacher, you know.
I understand that you lecture at the university every now and then. Is that why you were there?
Yes.
And you could hear the alarm from the lecture hall?
Actually, I heard it from the men's room. I finished the lecture earlier, and that's why I was so close to Dr. Gerald's office.
I see. But you were on the scene pretty quickly.
Almost immediately.
Did you see or hear anything unusual?
The only thing I could hear, Robert, was the sound of that alarm going off. It makes quite a racket, you know.
Oh, it's supposed to. But did you see anyone acting strangely?
Yeah, everybody seemed to be running either towards the alarm or away from it. Seemed like a perfectly natural reaction. Natalie, what about you? Did you see or hear anything unusual?
You were there?
Yes, I was with Grant.
She was part of my lecture earlier, how we coordinate orthopedics and physiotherapy. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. My officer obviously hasn't done his homework.
Well, maybe you should hire a few more doctors on the force, Robert. We seem to do pretty good detective work, too.
Yeah, well, I'll do anything to get out of legwork. Natalie, could I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
If you're through with me, Robert, I'd kind of like to...
Sure, Mudge. You've been a great help.
Great. If I can help with any more problems, please, contact me at 22B Baker Street.
Right on, Sherlock.
Do you mind if I set up while we talk?
No, go right ahead.
Good, good. I've got a patient coming in very soon.
This won't take very long, as a matter of fact. Now, you were at the building on that day, right?
Yes, as Grant said, we had just finished our lecture.
Uh-huh. And you and Grant were together when the alarm went off?
No, I had just finished talking with Grant, and I was actually on my way out of the building.
Mm-hmm. You near Gerald's office?
Down the corridor a ways.
But you heard the alarm?
Oh, absolutely, I heard the alarm. It's very loud.
Did you go to Gerald's office after that?
No, I really wasn't sure what to do, and I assumed it was probably a fire alarm, and since I was leaving anyway, I thought it best to get out of the building.
Did you see or hear anything, Natalie, which, may have struck you as suspicious?
No, not really. I mean, there were a lot of people running around, and I just thought it best to get out of cross traffic and not get caught in that.
What did you do?
Well, I left.
But didn't you hang around to find out what had happened? Curious?
Well, I suppose I figured that if there were any emergencies, I would see them very quickly right here at General.
Yeah, I suppose.
Is anything wrong?
No, I don't think so. Probably just a student prank, but something I have to follow up on.
Oh, I understand. Absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry you couldn't be of more help.
Well,
anyway,
I
thank
tried.
you anyway.
Thank you.
Celia, what a pleasant surprise.
Dr. Gerald, it's so nice to see you. May I present my best friend, Holly Scorpio?
Oh, enchanted. My. So much beauty in one place, it's absolutely dazzling.
I told you he was a darling.
Dr. Gerald, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've read a lot about your work.
Scorpio, are you related to the police commissioner?
I'm his wife.
Of course. I've met him. Charming man. And very lucky, I might add.
Thank you.
So what brings you to this part of town, Doctor?
Your fiancé, as a matter of fact.
Oh?
He just called and asked me to have lunch with him.
Oh, well, I suppose he's done with his emergency work at the hospital then. Well, he should be arriving any minute. Holly, do you mind if we wait for him?
Of course not.
Holly and I were just leaving, but I think I'll wait just a little bit so that I can steal a kiss from my favorite doctor.
Oh, and here I've thought your favorite doctor was me.
Oh, well, my favorite physician, then. You're my favorite scientist.
Dr. Gerald, I see you found some pleasant company. Hello, Holly, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Well, I thought you were at home.
Well, Holly begged me to come out to lunch.
Well, we won't interrupt then. Shall we, Doctor?
Yes. Grant, you're a very lucky man.
We just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, wonderful news, darling. Professor Gerald has agreed to be my best man.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, how wonderful. I just hope it won't be inconvenient for you, Grant, waiting till the last minute to ask.
Oh, not at all. In fact, I'm rather excited about it.
Yes. Dr. Gerald, would you mind if Grant walks me to the door? I'd like to give him a proper kiss.
Not at all.
Oh,
Go right ahead.
I'll meet you outside.
I'll be right back.
Let's move in.
Sorry, full on.
Well, put me on your waiting list. So, what did you find out?
Well, I spoke to Grant. He had nothing new to really offer except for the fact that his physiotherapist, Natalie Dearborn, was in the building.
And?
More of the same, nothing.
Well, I didn't have much luck at the university either. I talked with the chancellor, the security guards, and I even tracked down the janitor. They all remember one thing, the noise of the alarms as it was going off.
Yeah, I got the same story.
And I hit a dead end as far as the fire alarm went. Since there were no witnesses, we have no idea who might have set it off.
Great.
The chancellor did say they get about 6 false alarms a year. Now, they always assume it's some rambunctious student.
Yeah. Well, I'll buy that. But you tell me, why Gerald's alarm went off first?
Well, it's not much of an answer, but malfunctions do happen.
I could almost buy that too, but...
You've got a feeling?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we're flogging a dead horse here. Let's just leave things as they are. But in future, we'll keep our eyes open.
Oh, you're back.
Yes, a woman's work is never done.
And how was lunch with Celia?
Very good. Then I had to go and have my gown fitted for the wedding. Oh, I'm sorry. You must be discussing private business. I'll leave you alone.
Be finished in a minute.
Oh, don't rush.
Interesting.
What's that?
Oh, blame primitive female instinct, but I get the distinct feeling that something has changed between you two.
Oh, what way?
Well, women don't like to leave their man alone with another woman unless they are terribly secure about that man. And Holly seemed awfully calm about leaving the two of us alone.
Meaning?
Meaning you're acting more like a married couple now than before. A happily married couple?
Maybe we are.
Great. Just my luck.
TR733. Now, when are you going to get this through your head?
Holly is my wife, and nothing is ever going to change that.